For my good point, this might be a bit indulgent. Like, I actually don't even know in Manchester because you can even know who I'm referring to. But one of the pieces of news I saw the last week or so was that Chet, formerly known as I'm a Pet, he used to be the coach of like Evil Geniuses and NRG, if you remember, CLG way back in the day. He's obviously been off in Valorant these last few years. He was actually the coach of like the Optic and then the NRG team there. And if people don't know, in Valorant, he was actually very successful. Like in 2022, their team was on aggregate, like probably the best Valorant team. It was the one that had Ye and FNS and a bunch of old CS people. It's actually all the CS people Maui used to play with back in the day. The fucking Crashies and Victor and all these people, like Marv, like all the dreaded Marv. I haven't forgotten, motherfucker. But yeah,
I didn't play with him.
Don't worry about that.
I didn't play with him.
Just like to state for the record, you're not associated anyway. Like fucking communist show trial or something. Okay. But yeah, anyway, the point is, like, he was one of the better coaches in Valorant. But here's the cool thing. This is why it's cool he's actually announced he wants to come back. Spoiler, he's one of the people that didn't fuck with the Valorant circuit. Like, if you don't know, it's actually a nightmare if you're from CS. Things like they don't have demos. So if you're a coach like him, this is not a joke, you are literally watching a VOD and like looking at that radar and trying to figure out what's not on screen, what utility, and you're having to figure shit like that out because there's no fucking demo. So for him, it was a nightmare, I can tell you. And then also you have like 2.5 lands a year or something and you don't qualify to once. Like, enjoy your 6 months off, fucker. Like, it's a night. Some of the things, if you come from a CS world of entitlement, it's a nightmare. So basically, I already knew that him, and it's way more than him, by the way. There's a whole bunch of top people in that game, by the way, who want out. They want back to CS, but they just don't know if there's a way. And if they're comfy, they're not going to come back. So anyway, the reason I said all that is because if you go back, he actually did leave CS as one of the best coaches we had. And crucially, he's from the NA scene, Maui Snake. Name right now NA coaches. There's barely any. There's barely any in our scene. So in a world where Zeus just got fired from Liquid and there's an opening and there's plenty of NA teams could use these people, by the way, I actually hope this guy can actually get a good gig because I actually did think he was a good CS coach. If you go look at the results of NRG and EG, that was a fucking banger year, 2019. That was where they were like mixing it up at the majors. They were in a bunch of finals. They used to like make semi-finals of almost every tournament. And remember, there was once a period for real where over a 5 LAN match span, not game, LAN match, they won 4 out of 5 games against fucking Astralis, guys. Like, you do realize no one in history can say that. Like, that's mental. So, look, I'm not saying he can do all this when he comes back, but like I say, I actually don't think there are that many really good coaches. I think there's a lot of people who just do the gig and they watch the demos and they work with their players. So, I think NA needs big name players. By the way, I even think there's an obvious opening. What if he went to, like, fucking Liquid? His boy fucking Naf's there. They're best pals pretty much. So I actually hope he comes back and has like a real impact in the scene. And crucially, this is someone where Valorant had killed it. He would have never come back. People like him would have been gone forever. But I actually think it's cool that you can potentially come back the other way. Thoughts?
I like how you said Zeus was like just benched from Liquid. And I'm like, he was in Liquid. You know, like in my head.
There
like,
you go, exactly.
He was actually in Liquid. What was he doing there, you know? So I kind of agree with you. Like the only thing with Chet I remember, or I had any sort of like communication with him, was when we played in the old OG vs EG.
Oh,
in
right.
London last
Oh,
Friday.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he called us like clowns, and he put like a clown picture on Twitter.
I love it.
Like a bus full of clowns.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I remember.
By the way, he also can be a bit spicy like that. He likes to sort of like do some online shit as well, for sure, yes.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Like for him to join someone like in Liquid, where he has a connection with someone, or like someone from Liquid has a connection with him. Because I feel like with Zeus, for example, being Liquid and the culture difference, I don't think people like mesh together well. Like you have Zeus, you have these American guys, you have these Brazilian guys. I don't think they work together super well. So
thoughts, Maui? Did you actually know this guy well? Was he one of your boys? Was he in your circles?
I'm a pet. I mean, like we've talked here and there, but we're not besties or anything like that.
Okay.
But I will say that the one thing that it might sound a little bit strange for people, as he hasn't coached since 2021 or 2020, whatever it is, but he's been away for so long. But the main thing about Chet that was always so impressive is that when he was really serious about CS, he would literally run out of demos.
He's a grinder. He's a mega grinder.
Yeah. He's absolutely a mega grinder. And so I'm gonna say that even if you're somebody like Twist or like a Liege or really any of the top players in the world, you can always respect somebody that's watching everything and making sure that they're on top of the meta, even if he doesn't necessarily have the stature, the pedigree. Because someone like Zeus, for example, like he walks into a room, you're gonna listen to what he says, but after a while, if you're there long enough, I'm not saying Zeus is this kind of guy, but if he doesn't have more things to contribute or he doesn't have an idea, then you're going to just be like, yeah, you have the presence, you have the aura, but you don't necessarily have the substance behind it. And I will say that Chet, it's almost like the opposite. He doesn't always walk into a room and you're like, yeah, this guy has some kind of aura. But as a matter of fact, he can tell you a million things. He's going to tell you what Montu's doing on 9 to find an opening pick that's unique. And he's going to tell you what like all these random European teams are doing. Like I'm pretty sure he was even watching like Asian teams at some point just to see, do they have anything that they're doing that's different than what we're doing in the West? And so, yeah, I feel like even though it might seem a little bit weird, like he's going to have some catching up to do, I think a lot of teams could use him. I think a lot of teams could easily incorporate him into their roster. I don't know how far down he would go because, like, in terms of people he's worked with before, like, say NRG would be kind of cool, like a landing spot.
The connection with Daps from back in the day could go there, true.
Exactly. It seems like a friendly landing spot, but I think that Daps is competent enough at his position that I don't necessarily think he should be replaced. And I don't even actually think I want Chet to necessarily be an assistant coach. I actually think I want him to just be a full head coach, force his way onto teams a little bit, because he's been proven along with Daps to put really good systems together early on with rosters that would lift teams up greater than the sum of their parts. I don't know if that's exactly what Liquid need per se, but like, I don't think Liquid is even a bad landing spot for him, just because even if Twist has a way he wants to run things, even if Yakindar have a way that he want to run things, he's going to bring those couple new setups, couple new ideas, and they'll just simply have to respect that, because they're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, other top teams doing this, we weren't aware of it, thank you, Chet, and then they'll be able to use that and bring some other stuff to their game.
Okay, right, let's move on.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.